Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked. Brad and I are doing a discussion over Black Rose Wars Rebirth. This is the soft reboot, essentially, of Black Rose Wars. It's essentially the same game. Now, you have never played the original Black Rose Wars, so it'll be mainly me doing a lot of comparisons. But to be honest, there's not really a lot that's different. So
yeah, because from what I understand, the original, you're tearing down the place, and
yes.
This one you're building it back up.
Yeah, they really kind of made this more of a thematic thing,
right.
Where, yeah, the original, every room had these, abilities on it that could be used, but when you're placing instability, you still get points. Well, actually, you get trophy. You basically collect these, and then the room's destroyed, so the ability is gone. Yeah, this one is in the opposite. All rooms of the same color have the same ability to begin with, and then it's when they're restored that they get a unique one, which I actually don't mind. No, it's nice. It's kind of just like, oh, okay, I know what the gray rooms do. I know what the purple rooms do. It's a lot easier to just come into this one knowing that versus, okay, what does every single room do? And they had specific player aids for the activation of rooms alone. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's just cleaner from the get-go, even though Ludus Magna Studios is not a clean company. Their games are kind of, I don't know, like poorly written isn't really what I'd say. It just feels like that they're like 75% of the way there.
Right.
Like they need probably like, I don't know if they do, but if they don't, or if they do, they need to get someone else. They just need to bring a third party in to kind of like proofread. Be like, this is worded weird. You missed this, just to kind of clean it up. Even though Rebirth does a pretty good job of being a little bit more streamlined. So with all that being said, well, what do you think of Black Rose Wars?
Not playing the original. It looks daunting. I've never really, everybody always says it's Wiz War on steroids. I can see that. I've played Wiz War.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I played this, it took me half the game.
Yeah.
To start really getting the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it picked up pretty well.
Right.
Now it's never going to be one that I don't think I'll ever be able to play this with my wife, just because she doesn't this would be too much for her.
Gotcha.
I think. I might try it, but there is. I don't know if there's cooperative in this box. I know the original had the
yes.
Inferno.
Yeah, it had like solo scenarios
stuff,
as well as co-op stuff.
So I'll have to look into that to see how much play I'll get out of it.
I think some expansions, like the Apocalypse expansion, I think came with co-op scenarios. I know there is that available. Or you can play against the Avatar, which we did play. So we didn't just do a 2-player game because I just played Black Rose Wars Duel, and that was hot shit. So I was like, I don't want to do that because, again, with Black Rose Wars, it's the chaos of everyone's spells going off and traps and protections and dividing and conquering on who you're trying to attack. So having the AI at least diverted some attention versus you and me just standing here the entire time.
Yeah, I was worried about how that was going to go.
Right.
Are there more than one Avatar?
In the core game, there is just this one.
So so technically, if there was another, I could play a game against 2 avatars.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's actually a video that someone's like, "Oh, solo play with 3 avatars."
So that's how I would probably get it played mostly.
Sure.
I mean, that would be it.
Yeah, the core game only has the possessed,
right.
But I think expansions bring in more.
Right.
So yeah, you could have multiple AI running the game. But anyway, so yeah, overall thoughts, you liked it?
Yeah, I liked. I mean, it was what it didn't blow me out of the water because I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, because I knew it was going to be a cool game. I just didn't know. I like the different schools of magic, and I know there's tons more of those when you get into, because you can bring the schools from the other game into this. as well,
from my understanding, everything is backwards compatible.
Right.
Even the only thing that's kind of weird is the tiles, because instability is basically reversed. So I don't think you can combine the rooms.
I would think the biggest thing to bring over would be all your magic,
Yeah.
because you have so many spells to choose from.
Yeah.
And I like how you get that. I like how you choose one at the beginning to be your focus, but then you can really start. Like, because I chose Nightmare in this last play.
Right.
I chose Nightmare. Found out later on that it was okay, but it wasn't. So I just went all agony. Like I was just grabbing 4 agony.
It's like 4 agony. Yeah, the deck's halfway through. Yeah, and I chose, and yeah, that's the great thing about Black Rose Wars is they have schools of magic that are just unheard of. They have your traditional ones, but then like, I went with Hex. That's the one I picked just randomly, and it dealt with a lot of Jinx cards that you assign to players, and they have to. Your movement's reduced every time you take a Jinx, or every time you take a damage, just a bunch of like hindering cards. But yeah, they all play different, and that's the thing about this that is immediately better. I honestly would say, Black Rose Wars Duel is way cheaper. It's $50, but it's a far inferior game as 2. It's like this at 2 wasn't bad. I still like it with more. I still think 3 actual players. 4 actual players is where this game shines, because then you're competing for damage, and the AI just kind of everyone. It really just focused me because it just happened to be near me the whole time.
I kept my distance.
Right, but whenever you're having to be like, ooh, okay, who do I want to attack? Like, can I try and beat them out on damage for that person? Can I try and kill them? Competing for quests and events affecting multiple players is just better. But you also just feel unique with how your deck is going. Because a lot of mine were... I was actually kind of starting to do Agony as well, but like going back through my deck, it ended up being Hex and Technomancy.
Yeah, I had so much red. that was my because I was like, I wasn't early in the game. I was going that way because it was, any game when you're still learning the minutia of it, dealing damage feels like you're doing something.
Right.
So like if I was gonna get more plays in, I know the minutia now. I would look at Hex. I would look at stuff like that and stuff. This one's one of those that definitely rewards a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Because then you can start understanding.
Yeah, how each deck works, and on the back of each card, it tells you kind of what, like, the rules for that, which helps. But most of the time, I just pick a cool school and start with there. And you just have so much freedom. Like, again, in Black Rose Wars Duel, you will only ever have one school.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, so we're basically the same exact mage. Like, that's just extremely boring.
Dueling Hufflepuffs.
It's like the school was so lame. All it did was like bring in skeletons. Yeah. That's like pretty much all it did. It was so boring. But here, again, it's like I'm just gonna focus. Like you could just go all in, like pick Agony from the beginning and only take those cards, and it's gonna work. The ones we didn't really touch, I looked a little bit at Shamanic and Alchemy. But they just didn't synergize with the rest of my cards.
Yeah, the only shamanic card I used was the totem. That time it came out of there.
Yeah.
But that was, yeah, but no, for sure. This is, it's a cool one, for sure. And,
it's not intuitive. Yeah. Like, even Rebirth, like, original Black Rose Wars had a lot of, like, I had to actually print off, like, player aids, because I was like, man, this is kind of all over the place. If you're looking to get one or the other, I would honestly say get Rebirth. It's a cleaner game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Like, this is a good jumping entry point, and then look at getting all the other stuff just for the sheer variety for it. Because, again, you're just going to have 30 schools of magic, like something like that. I'd have to count them all again, but it's an insane amount. And that's the thing, it's like you focused on Agony, and I focused on Hex, and we still have like 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 17 cards left in Agony. I Now, every single card is not unique, but there's a good variety. And I would actually not really like it if they all were 100% unique, because then you don't really get a combo.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of creativity put into those decks. You know, and the cards are well thought out. Like that one I had where I was, anytime that one person I put that spell on gained or lost victory points, they were taking 2 damage every time. So, so it's like,
and it happened to work with me because I kept stealing points from him, or I was like, oh, I'll give him points, and then
that was
it's like, oop, damage.
A neat little thing,
right? Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a more complex Wiz War. Like, I wouldn't go into this game. I still wouldn't go into this game taking it super seriously, but I'm not going to be all goofy, haha, like Wiz War is meant to be. So what did you think of the actual AI?
It wasn't super predictable, which I like, because some games like this, you know, they're predictable what they're going to do. You know, I mean, I know he has a small deck and different stuff, and I like how some of the tops of the cards showed that they were defense. Yeah. So you kind of had to think, like, okay, I'm going to do this. Is it going to hit me back? Is it going to block most of my attack? You know, what's it going to do? Yeah.
Which is like an actual player, because it's like not every protection spell is reducing damage. Not every trap spell is countering something.
And they were, every time you took damage from pain or whatever, it would help him out. Yeah. I don't think I'll put it this way: it's not the best AI I've played against, but it's definitely not the worst.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Probably on the top third of AI type stuff. You know?
It's like, I didn't really think he doesn't replace another player. Like, it's not like, oh, this is just like having a third player. But it is a better alternative than just playing it at 2.
It serves its purpose.
Exactly. If you were playing, I think this would actually be better if you had 3 players and then the AI to round it out at 4, which is all you can do with the core box. You can, because it has to use a model from, and then use Mage. Now, you can play this game up to 6. So if you have the expansion, Deadly Masks, I think, which gives you 6 players, you could have 5 players and the AI. Right. So I actually, I'll kind of like what you're saying is, I like that it's included versus not at all, because then this game is not good at 2, and Black Rose Wars Duel is a good example of that. But he's a little weird. They didn't like over-explain like kind of how he works. Like, there's a lot of things where it's like, okay, so he doesn't have a number for his targeting system. So it just says he moves towards the nearest green room. Like, if he's next to 2 green rooms, I guess the person controlling has the crown marker gets to pick.
To move them towards you or away.
Yeah. And this game has always kind of done something really cool. One, I think that they do a really good job with kind of its lore. I mean, it's not like a narrative game, but they do put in lore around what the Black Rose War or the Black Rose Lodge is. But I've always loved the inclusion of the Black Rose. In the original, it was just kind of the lodge. My understanding was thematically it was kind of dictating who was worthy of becoming the next Archmage. So if the Black Rose actually got the most points, no one was worthy of being it. So everyone loses. But it's not everyone versus the Lodge. It's just, basically, it's a glorified timer. Like, hey, we're all nickel and diming just points, so we're only getting 1, stuff like that. And it's like, eventually the game will end if someone just can't get to 30. And that's what the AI does. It can kill you, you can target it, you can just do more stuff to interact with it, but it's still gaining points, completing quests, doing event cards. The one thing I don't like about it, though, is the AI completely replaces the event deck with his own, which would originally be fine, but there's only 5 cards each.
Yeah, so
it's very minimal.
I wonder if there's more in some of the
And there might be,
boxes,
in some of the boxes, some of the other expansion stuff. That could very well be the case, but at the core level, it's 5 first moon phases, 5 second, and 5 third. Even though we didn't go through all of them, and in this particular game, I got to 21 points, which is kind of the highest I've seen. But I've also never had the Black Rose win. I've played Black Rose Wars a ton, and it's never won.
Yeah, Yeah, but this last play, I didn't score a point until you were at 18 before I even scored my first point.
That's what I was telling you. But then you got the Black Rose, which got you 6 points. You killed someone, you got 4. That's 10 points right there.
I kind of ended up.
This thing was fucking me over the whole game, stealing points from me. So I'm just like, I was like, there was a point where I'm like, is he gonna fucking catch up?
I wasn't
like,
too far behind.
No, I was like, am I really just gonna like have this huge early lead? Then you were like, oh hey, I'm starting to get it. But I mean, I guess that's a tribute to the AI. Like, kind of makes thematic sense. I'm the one sticking next to an enemy, so why wouldn't he target me the whole time?
Right.
Versus like, well, he's really far away.
Plus, my dude's ugly. He didn't want to come close to my dude.
Well, I'm like this weird Phantom of the Opera wannabe guy. So
maybe you just want to see your face.
Show us the gross half of your face. But yeah, also what's great about this game, and not Black Rose Wars Duel, is they have the inclusion of the quest cards. And the quest cards are actually, these feel a little bit different, because in the original, the quest cards were basically like, here's a condition, do it, you complete it.
Right.
All the quest cards in this one kind of have you work for it.
Right.
But you get the points, and you also get the, like this one is Elementalist, so I resolve basically a card with an element. And I have to do that 4 times. If I do, I get to place 4 instability in a room. And I also get 3 points. I really like the quest cards in this a lot more. I like that it's not just... You can't necessarily top deck a quest.
Right.
You can't just be like, I'm going to use this to draw a quest, and oh, hey, I can immediately do that. 5 points.
The only way I think you could would be like the ones like these that have the symbols. So if you resolve an effect on one of your spells that it has... These 2 different symbol,
Yeah.
Then you get to.
But you still have to do that multiple. Oh, wait, yours was.
Yeah, mine was that.
Oh, yours wasn't immediate. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you could get lucky if you put the spells.
But this
down.
one even says one of your spells, and you have 3 of those symbols on the active side.
Right.
So you would have had to actually plan
all. Right. So that you could get lucky. I mean, it would be extremely lucky if you happen to do that, but it's possible.
Right.
Yes.
But for the most part, a lot of the quests are you putting cubes on them to get them completed, which I enjoy. I think that's a smart change. Other additions that are in the core set that I don't really recall in the original was upgrades. So they have a lot of cards that you can actually put upgrades on your evocations, giving them unique, like, hey, this has extra attack, this has extra movement, this heals. I mean, some like corrosive, they're not all good. Corrosive plasma, the target of this model's attack becomes target 0, so it can only hit things in its spot. I think that's neat. Makes evocations a little bit more exciting versus just, oh, this thing just does 2 damage. Moves and does 2 damage. But I don't think there's really a change they did that I don't like.
What did your big spell do? Because you got one of those.
Yeah, the Forgotten spells. It was it was the 6 damage one.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, just inflict 6 damage to anyone in the room.
Oh, or wow, so just anywhere.
Just anywhere 6 damage. And the other one was to any room, put 5 instability.
Oh, that's cool. See, I never really used the dark sides of my cards, and that was another thing I was going to bring up. Like when I was looking at all these, it almost seemed like the light sides were easier to understand to me, like because the dark sides were more convoluted a little bit.
You seem or like hyper specific,
right? So that's why I went light side on the majority.
Funny enough, my character was a huge counter against a nightmare school, or a huge benefit, because his specific spell was called Wanderer's Dream, and it's remove up to 2 nightmares from the lodge. For each removed nightmare, I can assign a nightmare to any mage. Yeah. Those nightmares activate under my control. But I didn't realize that the Umbras were nightmares whenever I was like, so I never used them. And then as you were putting them out, I'm like, oh shit, I should probably use my own spell. Yeah, I don't really know if they fixated on the light versus dark. I think that could have just been a thematic effect. It could just be happenstance.
Well, at the beginning, when I was first learning this, I thought maybe there were certain places that you had to be to fire off the dark side.
Like a massive darkness thing.
Like they're better if you're in the dark, dark versus light or something. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was just a way to get multi-use cards.
Yeah, because like one of the hex things is Black Feather. Steal 1 point, assign the weakness jinx to the target, and I can move myself up to 1. But the dark side is I can place myself in the same room as the target, and if it has at least 1 assigned jinx, I get to steal a point, and then I can place the target in a blue or yellow room. Again, I really still do not think, even with the AI, that this is a 2-player game.
Right.
Because fun stuff like that is like, we're all pretty far away from each other. But what would be funny is if I teleported across the room and popped you next to
Right.
third player,
Yeah.
and then now he gets to go and he might just straight up attack you,
Right.
or vice versa. I'd be like, I'm gonna bounce on out of here.
Which is one of the biggest worries I have with this, because I have the retail version of the original and the Inferno, and then I have the Kickstarter of this.
Yeah,
If it plays 3 or 4 at the best, I don't know if I'm gonna ever get that.
right.
So that's my worry. Like
No, I agree.
if it's gonna get played a whole lot. As much as I do like it, like I just don't know. Well, that'll be something I'll have to think about and stuff.
Sure. Nope. That totally makes sense.
Because it does definitely make sound like more of a 3 or 4 player experience.
Yeah.
For sure. Did WizWar would be the same way? Playing WizWar with 2 people is pretty lame.
You just
know?
never move.
Right.
So Rebirth, people say, best at 4.
Yeah.
16 people say it's best of 4. Let's look at OG, because this game just came out. So OG 1, that came out in 2019. Sitting at an 8. Also best of 4. That's 75 people. And I would agree. I do think 3 is good. Just because of the sheer nature of gathering points. Normally in 3-player fighting games, one person just gets caught in the middle and dicked. I've played this where you just are like, well, I've done 6 damage to you. They're not going to beat me out on that. So then, you'll just start trading points back and forth. But still, more games like this. 4. I've never played 6. But I have played. 6 would be insane.
Because it's the same size of lodge, isn't it? Because you just put the...
Yep, it's just now rooms
Holy
are...
crap, that'd be shit flying
You'd be
everywhere.
dying all the time.
Yeah.
The game's probably... And maybe that's why people don't recommend it, because it might just be, super quick.
Yeah.
If you're dying all the time, you're never really getting to do
Of course,
spells.
you probably move the moons up more, possibly.
I don't think so.
No, is it always...
I really don't think so. I think that 30...
I
I mean, you
why
can.
this was at 5,
It wasn't. It was at 6.
Well, no, I know, but, why is there a 5 spot up there? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's true.
I
No,
didn't
that's a
know if there
good
was
point.
way it
Yeah.
moved, if there was a way it shuffled
Yeah,
around.
and that might be a variant.
Yeah.
Actually, now that you say that, I think there are rules that you could kind of adjust when the phases
Gotcha.
pop off. But I do think 4 is probably the sweet spot. So
Yeah, it looks like it.
it's definitely a game worth getting. This game is, I still think, super unique. They really put in effort. And Ludus Magnus doesn't do a whole lot of games. I do think this is very much their best one.
Mm-hmm.
And the other cool thing is all their stuff they actually put on their store.
Yeah.
All the stuff that I missed out on, on their store. And it's like, oh, cool.
Well,
Even during their the current pledge that was
Yeah.
going off, someone asked, hey, I just need certain expansions. And they're like, it's on our store. Go get it.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting how they just popped right back onto GameFound just for the all-in.
Yeah.
Everything played, that was it. You did the all-in, but which you could do.
I think
stuff,
they just
but-
kind of had overstocked copies. And they're like, hey, for a cheaper price, get it all.
Because Kickstarter won't let you do that unless you add new content. They
Oh,
don't let you-
I knew that was with. I thought it was with all of them.
Right, but GameFound must let you
I
put
guess.
it on and re-put it on there because
Yeah.
they didn't add anything new.
I guess so.
And Kickstarter won't let you do that.
That's true.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, that's why it's always second print and a mini expansion on
Yeah.
Kickstarter. Yeah, I thought that was a crowdfunding thing, but I guess it might just be exclusive to Kickstarter. But yeah, I mean, it's well worth the money to get the extra stuff after that. I think I paid a little bit more, but they were available. They like to combine their worlds because this is technically called Nova Aetus.
Nova Aetus, yeah.
That's some Renaissance game that they've made. I don't know anything about it. And then they have their Sine Tempore game, which is just fucked up. That game is just all over the place. I've tried it so many times, and I'm like, no. Nope. The best thing about that game is you can do a party of all the characters from Spaceballs.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
So, yeah. Again, if you have the choice between the Rebirth or the OG, I say go Rebirth.
Oh yeah, I would too. I mean, not even played the other one, but knowing if this is more streamlined,
Yeah.
then I wouldn't even mess with the other
Yeah.
one.
Now, yeah. Well, yeah. To be fair, the other they basically kind of did that was like one of their first games, and with the expansions, the Inferno and the Seder box, they did clean it up. And the rules, from my understanding on how the turn structures work, is pretty much exactly the same. Kind of just once you understand that casting your spells, the 3 you place on the bottom are programmed, essentially. So you have to put them in a certain order that you hope they trigger. And then you get 2 actions a turn. And you cannot cast ready spells twice in a row. So it's just kind of little things like that you just kind of have to understand. And then understanding like, oh shit, like I put like a trap card as my very last one and everyone's already passed, so no one's going to be doing it.
Right.
So you kind of just learn things as you go. But yeah, it's great. It's great. And there's a shit ton of I mean, just the 6 schools alone are good to have.
Right.
Like, and then the Madness, Last Dynasty, Silk Road, Antiquities, North Winds, and Once Upon a Time. I don't think they all add schools of Magic, but I think quite a few of them do.
Yeah, because all I got was just the regular. Like, I didn't get the Apocalypse on that stuff. I just got the Rebirth box.
You got what I have.
That, and then the character.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy all the other stuff that you said
right,
you ordered or whatever.
So that's adding a bunch of more schools. I just like having all the schools.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving Black Rose Wars Rebirth?
I think I'm going to give it a solid 7.
7?
Yeah.
Good game.
Because
you're never getting this played.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason. I mean,
yeah.
If it had more of a bigger cooperative element,
and it might, I just don't remember.
Right, then it would be a point or so higher. But right now, and 7's good. Yeah. I mean, 7's still a great game.
I know to a lot of people, whenever it's like, because every time like Dice Tower, someone gives things an 8, they're like, I know that's low. It's like, what are you talking about? There's 7 other numbers lower than that. It's not like you gave this game a 2.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to remind a lot of people who have not seen my channel, as far as I'm aware, everyone agrees with me on my ranking. 5 is average. 5 is average, 6 is slightly above average, 7's good, 8, 9, and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But, so yeah. I was wondering if you'd give a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, it could be easily pushed to an 8. Sure. Like, depending on what else I explore. So with the caveat, it could be an 8 if it has good
co-op
stuff that tosses in there, but as currently where it stands, what we've played, I'll do a 7.
Yeah. I'm keeping it at a 9. Like, I love dueling mages as a theme, and there's more and more of those coming out, but they're typically card games. And the only other game that's close to this is Evian, which is like a skirmish. I've
heard of it.
And that game is close, but they wanted it to be like they give you a pamphlet as the rules, and it's like, so with a game that has a lot of nuance in it, I just felt like it wasn't clean, and I was constantly asking questions. This one, still, it's not clean. I'm constantly asking questions, but at least the questions I have can be answered. And yeah, just the sheer amount of schools now, because now I will have everything. I'll just have fucking I'm gonna count whenever we're done with this. I'm gonna count how many schools there are. But yeah, I'm keeping it at a 9. Still a blast, because I have played at 3 and 4, and it's chaos, and it's just super fun.
Yeah.
So that's our thoughts on Black Rose Wars Rebirth. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.